Hey guys, in my last video I showed my car getting its head blown on a money shift, and that was 1 week ago, and since then I've been sick. I've been busy working my 2 jobs, and I've wasted a lot of time trying to find a beater car that can just get me from point A to point B. I finally have some time this weekend to get the car apart. I'll be recording that stuff, me taking the head off, me taking the turbo off, intake manifold, everything's coming off. My next video, probably in like a few days or in a week, will show all of the damage from the money shift and tally up how much I spent trying to fix it. In the meantime, I do have some old videos that I never actually posted here, so this one's on my Catless SPM exhaust that I actually just installed a few weeks ago. This exhaust is stuck with its valve open. I need to post a follow-up video on me diagnosing the issue with my vacuum line. The valve works fine if you do it by hand, but the vacuum line is not activating the valve. So far, this exhaust is awesome. It sounds really good. It gave me what I wanted, which is more throatiness at low RPM and low load, because I was coming from an APR exhaust, which sounded stock-like at low loads. What I like most about this exhaust is how you can see the big mufflers from the back of the car. So it really gives the car a bigger appearance from the rear. And I guess it's kind of hard to tell because it's kind of dark under there right now on the camera. I'll try to get a good thumbnail where you can see this. You can definitely see both mufflers from far away, and it gives the back of the car a much lower appearance. So without further delay, we'll get into the video right here. At the end of the video are some sound clips of the exhaust, and as soon as I get this valve fixed, I'll post a follow-up video that shows what it sounds like with the valve closed. Here's my APR exhaust, and here is my new SPM exhaust. So this APR exhaust is a phenomenal exhaust. It's nice and quiet and OEM like until you really get on the gas, and then it really opens up because the gases just bypass the second muffler and they just come right through here. You really just have this single muffler at that point, and it's really loud. It sounds awesome. It leaves something to be desired sometimes when you want more grunt at idle and at low loads. The second thing that I don't like about this exhaust is that it's slip fit. So getting the downpipe out is a real pain in the ass because you need to undo this clamp and then hope that this will slide out. And for the most part, it does not slide out easily. So I was doing a turbo installation and I really just needed to remove the downpipe, but instead I had to remove the entire exhaust because none of it was sliding off of each other. In comes the SPM. The SPM is valved, so I can control when it's loud and when it's quiet, and it's V-banded. Each section just nicely mates up and clamps together instead of sliding over each other. So this will make taking the downpipe out a lot easier, and it'll give me more control over when the exhaust is loud and when it's quiet. So I already open up this box to grab a clamp out to put the downpipe in. So the downpipe is the only thing that's in right now, and that little midsection right there is in as well. The hanger went in perfectly, whereas on my APR one I actually needed to take it to a shop and have the hanger re-welded. So as you can see, they cut it off and just re-welded it on there. So before it was farther this way, and I think like in that way a little bit as well. But I mean, this fits perfectly now, but I had to pay a shop $200 to re-weld that. The reason it cost $200 is because they needed to take the entire exhaust off the car and then put it back on, because they too couldn't get anything to slide off of each other. And that was with the car on a lift. So this was a blemish exhaust. So this was a display exhaust. It does have some blemishes, so I got it for a reduced price. So in that first box there was this part, which is the resonator, and this straight section which comes off the downpipe, and then a bunch of clamps. So that means this other big box is the big boy. And once I get this all out, I'm gonna weigh the APR one and I'm gonna weigh this SPM one. As of right now, there's no exhaust in my car. and I haven't started it yet. So I'm gonna do a little start without the exhaust on, just a downpipe, see how loud it is. Whew. Damn. This is an awesome looking exhaust. This thing is big. You can see the valve. It's pretty cool. So it's naturally open. So back of here, I don't have a cat or anything. So on the APR, I had the cat, then the resonator. On my SPM, I don't have a cat there. I do have this resonator, or basically in the spot of that muffler. So it's just that single resonator, because when that flapper's open, that's just traveling straight through there. This thing might be pretty loud. Alright, so there it is. So I'm gonna weigh that APR exhaust without the downpipe, because I can't weigh the downpipe now that it's on the car. And see how these compare. Even 50 pounds without the downpipe. Sounds like a Honda. Yeah, that might make a weird noise, huh? Alright, I just got my tires swapped over. I had 2 flats. Got those Super Sports. I was moving this wheel and I accidentally let it drop like that on the concrete, and now I chipped some of the finish on it. So I never curb these wheels, but of course I drop it and I damaged the face, the lip right there. It's about 40 pounds versus 50 pounds, so I'm surprised, yeah. I thought all of that complexity over here would have added some weight, but that whole piece is like 27 pounds, which really isn't that bad. All right, so there's the downpipe. That big piece that says SPM right there is part of the downpipe. And then that clamp has this straight pipe that has the O2 sensor. Actually has 2 O2 sensor spots, but I'm only using that one. So that's the part that would be catted or catless. And then there's this piece that has this little bend. This kind of makes it has a little cutout right there, and then it goes straight again. And this pipe kind of mimics that. So it has a straight section, and then it cuts over, and then it straightens out again. The whole exhaust was extremely easy to install because the V-bands just allow you to get everything in place, match it up, and just clamp it together. The hangers are smaller diameter than the stock exhaust and the APR exhaust, which means that they slide right into those rubber grommets really easily. Right there is one of the rubber grommets. And what I'm talking about is this piece on the exhaust slides right through that rubber grommet really easily, whereas it was a pain in the ass to take the APR exhaust off because all of these were stuck on the grommets. I could not get the grommets off the car or off the exhaust. Everything was easy to line up except for this pipe. This pipe was a little funny on that end, but you just have to realize that the pipe kind of has to come down a little bit, because for a while I was trying to line it up where that section just shoots to the left, but instead it has to kind of go to the left and down. I just have to rearrange the axle back portion because the tips are not hanging straight. Here's what this exhaust exhaust sounds like from inside the car. Under low load, it's kind of quiet. It's got some burble to it. I don't have the vacuum line hooked up right now because the OEM line isn't quite long enough, so I need to get a little extension. This sounds really Honda-y at like 3,000. All right, so here's the Honda. That wasn't the Honda sound I'm talking about. It's like right here. Right there. Here's a Honda going under a little bridge. It's backfiring nice though. The APR was so loud when you'd go wide open throttle. We'll see how hooking up the valve changes things. This is neighborhood cruising. As you can also see, the right muffler is hanging lower than the left one.
Two big hops. So I'll bring up the pitcher, Zach Heflin. And he just clanked it.
So I have this little adapter that I had to make. There are barb to barb adapters that you can buy, but I couldn't find anything smaller than 3/16. This vacuum hose is 1/8. Yeah, so that hose doesn't come out any further than that, unfortunately. Alright, so this is what we got. First, I'm gonna go start my car. If this is working correctly, you'll see that go up like that to close. If it's not working correctly, you won't see it move at all. So it definitely didn't close. But I don't know if there's anything I have to code first. So I'm gonna go check that out right now. Alright, so loosening up those clamps and then trying to readjust the exhaust and retighten the clamps did not really work. The left tip is still a good amount higher than the right tip. I either need to get some washers or just build a little spacer by 3D printing something. Alright, so this is with that hanger only on one bolt. The bolt can only get 2 turns now. And I just measured that left tip to be 9mm below the bumper, and the right tip is 14mm below the bumper. But I can't lower that hanger anymore because there's no more room with the bolt. The bolt is really short. I have to get longer bolts and make some spacers for that hanger. To fix this uneven tip situation, I got a bunch of M8 washers and an assortment of different size M8 bolts because, well, they're M8 1.25. Yeah, I wish I could just raise up this hanger, but there's no way to raise it up higher. So I would have to get like a different rubber hanger piece or just like make one myself. This is the easier solution, so we'll see how this looks. Here's the stock bolt, so I'm thinking the 30s will be plenty long. Going with 6 of these washers. And there's still plenty of thread on there. Hopefully not too much thread. Alright, here's a quick little shot of all the washers that I put up there. About 6 of those washers up there. And then one more washer on this side. Same thing over here. Now the tips look pretty close. They're almost exactly the same height. There is no coating for this valve, which means that the valve just isn't getting enough vacuum to actuate. Just feeling the valve takes a good amount of force. I can hear a little vacuum noise. Now I'll go compare that to the OEM exhaust. Yeah, the OEM exhaust is pretty hard to do as well. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the other one.